Final countdown, T-3. So this is a couple of, I'm going to do a couple lightning rounds of just random fact types of things for Trump. The thing that's really amazing for this is there's some parallels with, it's very Orwellian, so George Orwell in 1984 just wrote a lot of things that are seemingly coming to fruition in various forms. But one of his statements was about the party saying, telling you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears, and this was their final, most essential command. Sounds daunting, it's obviously fiction. However, someone else is saying something pretty similar.
What you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening.
So there you go. So there's some of that parallel, and you could say that George Orwell was very prophetic and profound about what he wrote in 1984, but somebody even more intellectual said similar things. That would be Chico Marx in 1930s movie Duck Soup.
Your Excellency, here's your water. What in the world's the matter? Your Excellency, I thought you left.
Oh, no, I don't leave.
But I saw you with my own eyes.
Well, who are you going to believe, me or your own eyes?
Oh.
So that's what it feels like every day for the last 4 years is seeing something and then having Trump come out and say something totally different and knowing a fact and him totally misrepresenting or lying about it or him creating a fact out of nothing. And it is mind-blowing. And so Trump's translation to this is fake news.
Don't believe the crap you see from these people, the fake news. What you're seeing and what you're reading is not what's happening.
Don't believe your lying eyes.
Okay, so here's just a few of the things that our lying eyes are seeing. Starting with a thing that's probably top for me and many people, which is healthcare and the statements about pre-existing conditions.
We will always and very strongly protect patients with pre-existing conditions, and that is a pledge from the entire Republican Party.
So I won't go into too much detail on that. It's certainly false on so many different levels. But the Republicans basically absorb credit for what the Democrats have done with regards to health care, and then they say they're going to protect that, but they don't do anything to actually do that. So for 4 years or 5 years, they've talked about a plan, but they don't have a plan, and they talk always about protecting pre-existing conditions because it's a buzzword and it's something that's important to so many people. They've done nothing to do it. They're attacking it in court, and they don't have a plan to actually implement that would give health care to all Americans and would protect pre-existing conditions. So the next item is a combination of Trump's meaningless lies, just no reason to actually make a lie, but he does it anyway, and then a very meaningful lie.
And for those of you that still drive a car, look how low your gasoline bill is. You haven't seen that in a long time. The United States has among the lowest case fatality rates of any major country anywhere in the world.
Gas price thing is kind of a meaningless lie. I mean, so he's basically saying something is true, but then attributing it to himself, and it's a common thing he does where he makes a fact or states something might be close to a fact, and then he actually absorbs the credit for it by conflating with something else. So that was meaningless. Meaningful would be COVID and the case fatality rates so that is not true. He's continually either misrepresenting or totally lying about information relating to COVID. And at the time he was making those claims, I was doing a lot of detailed analysis on the COVID data, and the case fatality rate for the U.S. was not good. And however, it was in the top third of the top 20 major countries. So it wasn't the worst, but it certainly wasn't the best. However, at the very same time, the daily death rate per capita was number 2 in the entire world. So it was the second worst daily per capita death rate for COVID of all major countries. and that was horrible. So he's just misrepresenting the information continually, and that is a meaningful lie. Okay, so the next item is having to do with economy and job creations.
Over the past 3 months, we have gained over 9 million jobs, and that's a record in the history of our country.
So there's the claim about job growth, and just like I criticized the Dems for hitting Trump on job losses during a pandemic, which I don't think is fair. Trump also inflates his progress of certain times during the pandemic. So basically, there's a major job loss, and then that set the stage for a large job gain. So. The facts are true, but it was misleading. The next one is just, it's not necessarily a fact, but this is a classic statement about where Trump criticizes Democrats for either hating America or thinking America is bad, and it's just false. Oh, I forgot to say it's false and offensive.
In the left's backward view, they do not see America as the most free, just, and exceptional nation on earth. Instead, they see a wicked nation that must be punished for its sins.
This is a great nation. We're a good and decent people. For Lord's sake, this is the United States of America. And there's never been anything we've been able to accomplish when we've done it together.
So the false part is Biden is not saying it's a wicked nation. No Democrats are saying that, and that Republicans and Trump equally always criticize this of Dems hating America. Just because you challenge something doesn't mean you hate it, and that is what America is founded on: taking a system, challenging it, trying to make it better, and making that happen. So it is offensive, it's painful, it's wrong, and it challenges patriotism. So it's just kind of a silly type of thing. Next item, destroyer jobs.
Joe Biden is not a savior of America's soul. He is the destroyer of America's jobs.
Biden administration, they had a slow start because they were following the recession under Bush, but they did establish a trend of large job gains, and it was slow growth, but it was slow and steady growth that continued into the Trump administration. So those statements are false. The next one gets into his golden oldies and dear to his heart, which is the border wall. So enjoy this.
We have already built 300 miles of border wall, and we are adding 10 new miles every single week.
So this is something where he's saying a partial truth and just greatly exaggerating it. But the reality on the positive for Trump is that what he's running on, what a lot of his supporters say, is promises made, promises kept. And to Trump's defense on border wall, he has worked really hard to follow through on his promise. And I'm not defending how he's done it or what he's done and what he's planning to do, but he has certainly worked hard on that. So that is a positive, but he still takes information and makes massive mountains of misinformation out of it. So that's his common tactic. So that's that. The next post will be on the lightning round part 2, and more of these similar types of items. Oh, and I'm hearing the music again.